Tyler Soderstrom know that the 23-year-old has pop and has impressed so far, the most electric hitter for the A's this season, and it's not close. 2 more home runs for him on Tuesday. So who is he, and is this power here to stay? Cali kid, selected by the A's in the 2020 draft, made his debut in 23 and followed his dad's footsteps to the big leagues. His dad, Steve, drafted 6th overall by the Giants back in '93 and reached the big leagues with San Francisco just 3 years later. Tyler became the first player 23 or younger with 3 multi-homer games in his team's first 17 games of this season. He can hit, and Dero, what do you say? If he can hit, they'll find a spot for you, right? Is this a nice start for Tyler, or is this who he is? Take us through it.
Bat plays, Lauren.
Yes?
Bat plays, and I'm feeling what Marcotte's putting down with the Athletics. Woo. We got position players for days. I like arms, Severino. We get some arms in there.
And their guys are panning out, right, D-Row?
Yeah.
Jacob Wilson, their first-round pick. Lawrence Butler was a 6th-rounder a few years ago. That's what they need. They need to develop their guys, but talk about someone who's developing.
Tyler Soderstrom, like Lauren said, 2020 draft. He was the 26th overall pick, and they always talked about the bat. He caught in high school, eventually moved to first base with the arrival of Nick Kurtz, who's another top prospect for the Athletics. Who knows? But he's going to get to swing the bat 4 times a night. Know that. So I want to dive in. Mikey, we can go through his swing, the adjustments he's made. He dealt with some injuries last year. He had a left wrist that he had to deal with and kind of came into camp with an axe to grind. He has gotten off to an amazing start. He has got massive pop. Pause this. Bring up the first board, please, Deb. I mean, you take a look at it, season stats, MLB ranks. He's first in bombs, went in the 3 multi-homer games in the first 17.
I don't think I had 3 multi-homer games in the first 5 years of my career. That's not fair.
Ribbies, he's 6th. Slugging percentage, 734. He's 3rd. Weighted runs created, plus he's dad of 2 guys. And they're not all Sacramento bounce house homers either. I mean, he's doing it on the road
yep.
with a hooded sweatshirt on in Chicago. So let's go through him. I want to show a couple of his homers. We'll get into side angles of his swing, the adjustments he's made, where he stands in the box, and then the fact that he absolutely pummels high velocity. So this is Logan Gilbert. This is the first one of the year. Just a little spinner, middle of the plate, 0-0. But to shoot it dead center, no doubt, in Seattle, it's not easy to do. So he's got big-time power here. This is Brian Wood. This is changeup fading away, day game, Seattle, and you go dead left field.
I think that 3rd one was my favorite.
Run that back for Mike. He wants to see that again. We talked about this yesterday with Austin Riley against Kevin Gosman.
When the MO is that you can hit velocity, you think guys are just amped to turn on the ball. And when you see this pitch, I mean, you have to do so much to stay on it, through, and hit with authority. If we run it now, you'll see this is going to be outer third, black strike.
Fading away,
yeah.
Boom.
Just stays on it and drives it. Some guys can stay on it, but they can't drive it the way he does. 97 in.
From Dolander in. Missed his spot, 1-1, short to it, long through it. Just an absolute bomb. Curveball from Burke, middle of the plate. 3-2 count. 1st and 3rd, not just giving up on the breaking stuff, all over it. And then to end it last night, put the game on ice. Just a spinner. Ooh, little bat flip right there. So let's see the adjustments. Pause this. This was 2024. I mean, the first thing that jumps out to me is definitely a little narrower in his base.
And you mentioned earlier, D-Row, about the vertical bat. Like I've always, some guys
I'm a big vertical bat guy.
I am too, because I always feel like if you're starting at this point, you got to come from here to here anyways. So I think you get lost in your hands on where they go. I think it's hard to repeat every time if you're flat.
And if you're like this, Mikey, and that's why I said why I like the vertical bat angle. If I'm presenting every time like this, my first move is to just kind of come around it and get rotational.
Yeah, you almost get slappy.
And I feel like when I know where this, like Gary Sheffield, it doesn't have to be that bad, I know this has got to get involved at some point.
I'm a big proponent of it. But you could see this is a studied change. This is something that, he went into the lab and said, let's see what works.
So run this slow. I want to see if he does anything different with his hands. We always say you could start your hands pretty much anywhere. Pause. Pretty static. He just looks more athletic, more stacked. Listen, if you're going to deliver a blow, you get, boom, you want to be short and tight like Mike Trout. You don't want to be wide and long, and then you don't have total power behind it. So run it. Nice, tight, short swing. Bottom hand through the baseball, long through it.
D-Row, that's so good. I look at 3 things. Kind of like the 3. Yeah, let's go back to the 2 side angles. 3 H's for me. It's the hips, the hands, and the head. And what I see in the hips right here, if you run it a little, there's an extra coil here. You see that kind of belt buckle? It's kind of just facing here. Now this one, comes back, and I'm like, okay, now I'm coiled up, ready to just unload. I love seeing that. The head stays on plane. I don't have a big problem with some guys. You mentioned Corbin Carroll. He kind of goes through, but the head stays. Like, what guys get into trouble is when it's you know, and then you're moving the ball. I'm okay with guys that have more violent strides, they say, as long as that head stays. So it's hands, it's head, and it's hips, and I think that's the key to putting together a great swing.
So from the side angle, it looks like he's just narrowed up his stance a little bit. From the front angle, he's closed himself down, too. Pause.
Yep.
I mean, he was wide open last year. And that's why I like to put this stuff on the skybox. You will see guys tinker with this stuff throughout the year for what feels good. I'm sure you adjusted. You were a guy who stood open.
I did, and every year I think I started more upright. I felt like I had more leverage because I didn't want to get into this mode.
Yeah.
Right? As the year played on, I think sometimes I got a little leaky, and I had that negative head movement. So my goal was always, where can I put myself in a position to see the ball? I felt like my swing was pretty good.
Yeah.
But I wanted to be able to recognize the pitch early. So I think at times I kind of crouched a little more athletic to eliminate so much head movement. For me, the head movement was key because it allowed me to pick up the ball. If I pick it up one click earlier, that's the difference sometimes between getting beat by the fastball or being out in front on a curveball or a changeup or barreling it up for a base hit.
Yeah. All right, bring up his stance metrics boards. I love this. We just did this with Corbin
Yeah, this
Carroll.
is really cool. This is great stuff.
Nays is in my ear saying June is when he absolutely took off, 2024. So he closed down his stance angle. He went from 14 degrees open to 8 degrees open. That's a significant change. And then the distance between his feet last year, 42 inches, and then now 33.
That's a big change,
That's
too.
a big change.
Yeah, yeah.
And you can tinker with that for what looks good. But the one thing you can't tinker with is you get to the big leagues, you got to hit a heater. This dude can get on a fastball in a big-time way. Once we get through here, I want to show you some of his recent homers against the fastball because he's absolutely crushed some of these. I mean, here we go. Michael King hasn't given up anything all year. 93 down and into a lefty. He just dropped it. Boom. That ball is killed. 1-0. Bring up the board of him versus the heater. Slugging percentage leaders versus fastball since the start of June 8th of 2024.
Wow.
Judge, Soderstrom, Marte, Grichuk off the pine, and Tatis Jr.
You know what that tells me? I'm not going to see as many heaters.
Now, we talk about this all the time. We talk about him coming out of the draft. You hear me say, I try to tell the parents, your kid's going to be some version of what he was in high school. He's going to clean all the mechanics up. But this guy absolutely mashed in high school. And what does he eventually get back to, right? You tinker with stuff. But eventually, he looks pretty spot on to what he looked like this season.
His elbow from last year was really straight and direct. But this year and his high school looks more similar than this year and last year.
Go back to what feels comfortable. And he's always had a nice stroke.
Yeah.
That's a hingeless move. You see it,
lower
they're not
half.
feeling for it. Ball's getting in the way of a good swing. Oh,
Wait a
We're not saying he's Ohtani.
What are we doing?
We're not saying he's Ohtani, but much like Ohtani, when we saw
shut
him
your mouth.
in his first spring, he had that very traditional Japanese where it's that big load.
Yeah.
And we see now Ohtani for the last number of years. It's that early tap and then that hip coil. I was just looking at it. I mean, this is Ohtani-ish. Run it. Let's look how similar this is from a prep and a load standpoint. You know, let's not say, oh, early. And then you get the coil. It's pretty cool.
Right. Is Tyler Soderstrom Shohei Ohtani?
Pretty much, yes. Hey, coming up tomorrow at the historic Pabst Theater in Milwaukee, Christian Yelich and the Yelich family are proud to present the third annual Home Plate Charity Concert. Tickets from this event benefit 3 causes that are near and dear to the Yelich family: the Brewers Community Foundation, Visit Milwaukee, and the Live Like Lou Foundation, which helps supports families and victims of ALS. Tickets are available now at visitmilwaukee.org/Yelich. And Christian Yelich of the Milwaukee Brewers, good enough to join us now here on MLB Central. Christian, how excited are you by tomorrow's event and just about your foundation's effort to help these charities?
Yeah, good morning, guys. Tomorrow will be a lot of fun. You know, it's third year doing it, and it's always been a great event. You know, I think the goal behind it was obviously to do a lot of good, but have people come out and have a lot of fun too, and have a good experience coming out, doing some charity work, but you know, also having a good time. A lot of guys on the team come out, which obviously I'm really thankful for. It's on an off day, and we don't get too many during the season, so for a lot of guys for the team to be there means a lot too.
My eye goes right to the Goo Goo Dolls. What's on Christian Yelich's playlist?
I mean, they got a lot of good songs, right? I mean, we were talking about it, you know, before we came on here. So that's kind of like our era as kids. You know, we grew up on them, and you know, classic late 90s, early 2000s band, and you know, got Iris, Name, Slides.
I still rock them repeatedly. Goo Goo Dolls Essentials off iTunes is a must-have.
A lot of bangers, Christian. A lot of bangers.
lot of banger. That's what I was saying. We got some of the kids in the locker. I don't know how many of them know about the Goo Goo Dolls. They're gonna know tomorrow. They're gonna know tomorrow. But yeah, it should be a cool experience, and generous of them to come out and hang out with us for the night. So we're all looking forward to it.
How did you build the relationship with Johnny Resnick and the boys? Like, that's not just, sometimes you look at a charity lineup and you're like, okay, I really never heard of that. You see Goo Goo Dolls, it's like, all right, I'm going. Name. I got to go.
Yeah, so our head equipment guy, Jason Schauger, he knows their manager. And a few years ago, a couple of us kicked in and had him come out and play a private show for the team. It was just players, coaches, staff, wives, girlfriends, whoever wanted to go. It was just people on the team after a day game. And we did it out there in the left field restaurant. Johnny came out, ripped an acoustic set for everybody for like an hour and a half, and we all hung out. Cool. Just a little team bonding thing, a little team concert, and it was a really good time. So kind of started there, and then this year we're like, hey, we got a lot of new guys on the team, and it's been a few years. I wonder if they'd come out and do it again, and they are. Along with the Nicotine Dolls, we got a kind of a doll themed. We got a doll themed charity event tomorrow, but they're really good too. Kind of a newer band, but they were part of it last year.
He was on America. He was like trending, the lead singer of Nicotine Dolls on America's Got Talent. I remember that.
Yeah. Super talented, and they were phenomenal last year, and excited to have them back as well.
Christian, I was on your baseball reference page the other day like a total dork. How is it 13 years?
I know.
Does it feel like 13 or 3, right? I thought the same thing.
Yeah.
I thought
it doesn't feel like 13.
I
know. That feels like a whole different lifetime ago, honestly. This is my 8th year in Milwaukee, which is pretty crazy. It doesn't feel like it's been that long, and definitely doesn't feel like 13. We were just in Colorado, which is always a cool place for me. That was where my debut was in 2013. So it goes by fast, man. I mean, you guys know that, but it's been a fun ride so far, and we got a few good years left.
How you feeling, Christian?
Feel good. Yeah, I feel a lot better than last year, obviously. Dealing with a lot of the back stuff, but hopefully that's behind me now, and feeling good and just kind of getting settled into the season.
I'm sure you've been asked about Bob Uecker a lot being in Milwaukee. What were your interactions like, broadcaster to player?
Awesome. There was never a bad day, being around Ueck, and really it was just hanging out in the kitchen or one of the back rooms, and just listen to him tell stories, and just getting to be friends with Ueck was awesome, and see him kind of in that relaxed environment where there's no pressure. It's just kind of the guys hanging out, and him talking about his life, really, whether it was playing days, hanging out with Hank Aaron, Mickey Mantle, Yount, kind of just those guys hitting the town back in the day, or him talking about being on set of Major League, or
I love that.
Johnny Carson, and just all the crazy stuff and life that he lived. He's getting FaceTime from astronauts in space for his birthday. Just the guy lived a wild life, and was just a one of one human, and obviously we miss him, but just getting to know him was special and an honor, and something I'll cherish forever.
All right, I remember in spring training I came in, I believe you were into like a couple eggs in a fruit bowl.
Yeah.
I think I remember.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
What are we doing today to get ready?
Pretty much the same thing. I'm not a big breakfast guy, so we're going out in the jungle usually with not a whole lot of food in us for a noon game,
Is it a show and go for you? No BP?
Oh yeah, dude, noon kickoff, bro. You're just trying to get yourself, out there. If you get on the line to stretch at 11:40, that's a win for the day. So that's what we're doing. A lot of caffeine, a lot of milligrams, and you just go and send it and see what happens.
How do you eat your eggs?
Scrambled.
Yeah.
I'm not
you,
a huge
Christian.
egg. Not a huge egg guy, but we got to eat something,
Hey, Christian, thank you very much for joining us. Best of luck on the event tomorrow. Once again, it's Christian Yelich's home plate charity concert featuring the Goo Goo Dolls. If you want some information, if you're in the area, go to visitmilwaukee.org/Yelich.